Well, I've come to Liverpool on a day trip on the boat, actually, funny enough, and it was great to have opportunity to talk with the Mayor of Liverpool, Joe. Obviously, the plans for the movement of the Isle of Man Ferry from where we are now to this new area. There seems to be confusion on exactly what's going to happen. Can you enlighten us, and are you happy with what you see in these plans?
Well, I think the confusion may be about potentially some misinformation, but the plans are that we move the current site for the ferry around about 800 metres, a little bit north, near the cruise liner terminal that we're building, and obviously part of the central dock development on Liverpool waters. And as far as I know, it's pretty seamless. It's going to be, the Isle of Man and the catamaran and stuff can continue to be used while the new facility is being built, and then it's a seamless handover.
Yeah, I think it seems like 2019 is when the current place finishes, and 2021 or something is when it will pick up. There might be this gap, but do you think it can be sorted out?
Well, yeah, I think at the end of the day, that if there's a gap, I'm sure that's been looked at, and there is something that can easily be resolved. I can't see how and why there's a gap, because where the current berth is has no impact on what we're building 800 metres away. So why that would change is beyond me. You're telling me something that I can't explain because I don't know. But quite simply, the berth where it currently is not going to be impacted upon. We don't need that for any reason. Where we're building the cruise liner terminal is next to the facility for the Isle of Man berth.
How important to Liverpool is that connection with the Isle of Man?
Well, it's a historic connection. It's one that's always existed for, well, not always, but for many, many decades. It's one that I remember as a boy, with the Ben McCree and all of the old ferries coming in. I think we used to have 2 or 3 a day coming in and out, and we've always had that connectivity. And I think, it's important, not just for trade. When I go abroad, for instance, to China or anywhere else, and we talk about, and often people want to talk to me about the Northern Powerhouse, I often include the Isle of Man in that. And when we've been to MIPIM in Cannes in France, where we've talked about opportunities and development, again I often raise the fact that we're connected to by ferry and an airport flight that takes around about 20 minutes, half an hour. That's how close the Isle of Man is, so we always promote that. And I think it's great for me, a real statement of intent and friendship and partnership that the Isle of Man governments are investing basically in outside of the Isle of Man, I think for the first time ever.
Sure, I mean it's like £30 million is going to be invested.
Absolutely, but it's investments I think that is what I would call and describe as invest to earn, because that trade and that opportunity for people to travel back and forward in terms of tourism and stuff, without that, then it would seriously damage the Isle of Man's economy. So it's important that we have those established links and continue them for the future.
But of course, we're small fry in terms of these massive big ships that you're encouraging to come in. The cruise business, you're 100%. This is where it's going, is it? This is where the money, the future tourism is going to come from.
Well, around about a mile away from. Well, less than that, 3/4, half a mile away from where the Isle of Man berth will be in the cruise liners, we've got Liverpool 2, which is the container berths that have been invested, 300 million investments in bringing in some of the biggest ships in the world. And the cruise liner terminal, that's cargo ships and container ships. And the cruise liner new terminal, the cruise liner and the new berth, the cruise liner, will mean that we'll be able to bring in the cruise liners, the biggest in the world, 3,500 passengers on them coming into the city. So, it's important that we support that investment. What we're doing with the site itself and the Isle of Man berth is we're investing around about 138 million in new roads into the waterfront.
I was going to say, because everyone says the infrastructure's not good, there's no buses, so-and-so down there. It's a bit of a sort of end of the pier feel.
I think people always want to look at the glass being half empty rather than, you know, half full. The fact of the matter is that we're investing, as I said, about 138 million pound in 2 new roads going into the site. So, you know, there'll be transport, there'll be, you know, taxis available, buses available, and it's still not going to be that far away from the city centre.
If you were walking it, how long an average walk would it be difference?
Well, it takes 100 metres difference, and so if you go then from there onto the dock road, you know, you could walk from where we are now to the new berth probably in about 15 minutes.
Right.
So 20 minutes maximum. So it's not that far. And as I said, there will be facilities like taxis, like buses and whatever to take people out of the site itself.
So the main thing is continuity, and you don't know the answer to that, but you don't think there'd be problems, and there shouldn't be problems, right? That the Isle of Man won't have somewhere to berth between this whole movement.
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, there has been occasions when there's been no Isle of Man ferry coming into the city that's gone to Heysham, and we want to avoid that if we can. I mean, logistically, I don't know what the plans are, but I would hope that it's pretty seamless, and, you know, we want, you know, for instance, that to be as good, that connection to remain as good as it possibly be. So I would hope that there wasn't any you know, discontinuation of the service. You know, we want to try and avoid that if we can. But if it has to happen, then, you know, that's something that I don't know about at this juncture.
You'd be making inquiries there, would you?
Yeah, we'd certainly look at that, but, you know, I would hope that it's pretty seamless.